Next topic, entrepreneurs. Are they created or are they developed, right? Meaning, are they born with it or are they developed based on society, situation, someone convincing them that this is the way they should do it?
Absolutely developed. I mean, the concept of entrepreneurship in general is a social construct. So I think everything that comes after that is like it's by design. So whether it's you creating those or developing those opportunities for yourself or somebody else guiding you in a direction or forcing you in a direction, it's not, I think that like you can hone any skill required to excel as an entrepreneur. You just have to have that kind of motivation. Interesting.
So say the first time a human being wanted to use fire for their advantage, right? That primitive society have guide that person to say, you know what, instead of running away from fire, I'm going to see if I can harness that fire and use it to my advantage. Was it society that made that person do that? Or was it, that person was born to be curious and tried things and know that, I might fail and I might burn, right? But I'm committed to, progressing myself or my tribe or the group of people, right? So from that respect, what say you, Jason?
Well, I think entrepreneurship is, we're so used to celebrating the huge, successful entrepreneurs in our society. Mm-hmm. And there's a temptation to think that that's the only way it can be done, right. Like a Branson or a Musk. And they've come out of the womb thinking about that and always being that way. But that's not necessarily true. I think there are a lot of entrepreneurs that it's also a matter of timing, mm-hmm. right? I'm a classic case of that. I was always a quote unquote company man, worked as a T4 employee my whole life. But when the opportunity was right, I knew what I wanted to do in terms of having my own business, and the timing came together. For me, the timing came together at the beginning of COVID, ironically. But it was the perfect time for me to start my business. And it was something I always wanted to do, but I had the discipline to wait until I felt the timing was right. And it's worked out. So I think it's a little bit of both. There are many people out there who are entrepreneurs at heart, waiting for the opportunity to arise, whether it's confidence, whether it's monetary capability, but for circumstances to change for them to take that step. And then there are people who just never will be entrepreneurs. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, sure. Everybody's different. Yeah.
It's a very small segment of the population. It's not meant for everyone. Mm-hmm. Patrick,
yes.
What do you think?
Yeah, I seem to agree with the panel in terms of, it's nurtured. I think, we look at these entrepreneurs that have kind of made it, the top tier ones, and we think maybe it's a specific personality type that excels in this area. Maybe that's just like survivorship bias. We're just seeing the ones who kind of succeeded. But no, I think it has to be nurtured. I think it's a process of discovery. I don't think someone is just born ready to go. They may have like inclinations. They may have like an upbringing, a personality type that tends to excel. Mm-hmm. But I think it needs to be developed and nurtured and explored.
Right.
I would say to people out there who have some entrepreneurial dream, but they feel like it's not attainable. It certainly is attainable. Maybe the opportunity, the circumstances haven't aligned themselves to allow yourself to give yourself that opportunity, but look for the circumstances to align for yourself to make that happen. You may be working in a job that you really don't like. You may have a nightmare, hard-headed boss, but if you have an entrepreneurial dream, you can certainly make it happen. I made it happen at 50 years old, 51, and I haven't regretted it a bit. But to your point about thinking like an entrepreneur, I would agree with that statement because, you know, I always thought like an employee. And it's taken me 2 to 3 years to really start to think like an entrepreneur, running my own business and being forward thinking. What's the next thing I need to do to grow my business? It is a process. But the number one thing I tell people out there is, even if you're not an entrepreneur right now, you have it in yourself to do it. Just look for the opportunity to align with you being able to take that step.
Right. I think like that's exactly how I think now, because my entire life I'd never once was like, I desperately need to own a business or I need to do something grand. Well, I take that back. I've always wanted to do something grand. It was never business oriented though. My parents were like union workers. They were very comfortable. That was what I understood growing up. I was never ever taught about anything like overly business related until I started seeing how businesses worked in my adult life. And like, I have a very critical eye. So I was like, ooh, that's not working, like constantly. And it wasn't until the last couple of years that I was like, oh, all of my life experiences are starting to align and I can start connecting these really obscure dots all of a sudden and then hone these like technical skills that I've picked up and make them all work together. But that's not something that I set out to do ever. It was just timing. All of a sudden, like things are starting to like align in like a visual way that I can see, oh, this is something that can actually take form. But it was my own nurturing. It wasn't any sort of, you know, I wasn't born thinking that this is it, you know, like some people say like there's 2 important days, the one where you are born and the one where you like realize why you were born, whatever that saying is. Like I'm butchering it totally.
I think I've heard that.
Yeah, you guys get it.
Yeah.
I've never ever had that. Like I just feel like every other day I'm like, ooh, I should do this. And this is obviously my ADHD speaking again, but they're starting to align. It was not on purpose, but now there's that sort of entrepreneurial mentality that I am really loving. And I'm planning on nurturing that, but I don't think that I was just born to, you know.
Yeah, I think it depends on finding what it is. Sometimes it doesn't have to like start as I want to start a business, I want to start a company, I want to solve this problem. I think it's just like you have that determination of like I want to make a difference, right? I want to change something. I want to change whatever it, however big or small that I want to change this is, right? Whether it be changing one person or 1 hour or changing thousands of people in thousands of hours or millions of people, right? But I think it's just that desire to like, I want to change things, right? I don't want to just, you know, be born, live all these years and die and not make that impact or that change. And it can come in any shape, you know, it could come in any age, right? But I think it's that coming out moment of like, you know what, I gotta make this happen, or I gotta change this, right? I want to do this, right? Then that drive fuels you.